When you hear the word shabby chic, usually people think of something like this. But today I'm doing something a little bit different. I'm going to be giving this vintage French Provincial dresser a modern shabby chic makeover. So as you can see, there are a lot of scratches on the top. There's some water damage, and then the fronts have a ton of scratches. Those are not even the big issues. The big issue is it does have an odor. So keep watching and I'll explain how I fix this. Like in many of my videos, I'm opting to strip the top off. Now I only have a teeny tiny bit of stripper left in my container. So I'm gonna use what I have, but I don't expect this to go very well, I'm not gonna lie. But whatever I can get off with the stripper, it just saves me time and it saves me sanding pads, so I'm just gonna go for it. And then I found a little bit of stripper left in another container. I could take this outside and just sand it, but it's going to take way too long, and I'm going to have to use an 80, 120, 150, and then 180 grit, and I would rather just not do that. So I like to opt for the paint stripper instead when I'm removing the top. And I'm removing this top because it is completely damaged. I don't even think that my video at the beginning did it justice. There's a lot of damage on it, so it has to be refinished. I think this is a great time for me to talk about Citrus Strip again, because I'm telling you, I get so many comments that Citrus Strip doesn't work, and I just think that it's not the Citrus Strip. It's just there's a couple things that you have to make sure you do, and one is applying an ample amount. You have to have enough Citrus Strip on your piece for it to work. I know that this is not going to go as great as if I would have had a full container. I probably would have used half of a container on this top and it would have came off super easy. But I already know that it's not going to happen because I don't have that much left. So I'm not expecting amazing results. I've actually had someone just recently say, "Oh, you took out the Citrus Strip. I'm not watching anymore." It's not the Citrus Strip. I hate to say that, but it's the user. If you're having issues, there's a couple things that you can tweak to make it work. Like, look at this. I had the tiniest amount of Citrus Strip on my piece, and it is still working, just not as great as it would if I had had a full container. And I'm not sponsored by anybody in this video. I'm not sponsored by Citrus Strip. This is what I use. So like right here where it's really not coming off, that is the spot where I had applied it the lightest because it was the last spot that I applied it. So I didn't have that much on there, so it didn't get to penetrate that layer. And now I'm just using my distilled white vinegar to do some cleanup. I just want to clean up the rest of that Citrus Strip that's on there, but also I want to kind of scrub a little and see if I can get some of that finish off with my little scrubby. Ooh, and another little tip. I bought this thing, I don't know, you plug it in, you can charge it with your phone charger. I bought it for super cheap. It was less than $20 on Amazon, and I bought this to clean my shower tiles, and I ended up trying it on the edges of, right there, the trim, and look how easy it comes off. It just took everything off super easily, and I've never had that work with anything, to be honest. So now I'm taking it outside and I'm spraying the inside. I wash them down, but I'm spraying the inside of the cubbies with clear shellac. Now I'm opting to only spray the cubbies with it because I have to prime the outside of the piece with a adhesive primer because it is pretty shiny and I want to make sure that my paint sticks. But when you have a really stinky piece, shellac is an amazing product to lock in that odor. I know I'm going to get a lot of comments over on Facebook once I post this over there, and they're going to say, "Oh, how could you have painted over that? That was a classic piece." Well, because somebody smoked or did whatever, it stinks. So, I mean, really, the other choice would be to throw this thing away or burn it because it stinks. Nobody's going to want stinky furniture in their house. And you could restore this and stain it, but you're going to want to use that shellac at some point, and shellac does yellow. So people don't like yellow furniture right now in their house. They don't like it to turn orange. So my best option is to paint it here. And now I'm going over the edges, the trim where I didn't have enough citrus strip and I couldn't get that finish off. And this is just one of those, it's a Surf Prep sanding pad that I got online at Total Finish Furnishings. You know what? I will link the correct name down in the description box below. But I buy these, it's a box for like $20. And it lasts a really long time. I swear I've had these for like a year because I only use them on the curved pieces of the furniture. And of course, it can't get in those grooves. So I do have to take it back in the house and do another thing, but I'll show you that later. Now I'm taking the very little tiny bit that I could get out of that citrus strip can, and I'm just adding it to these edges. I mean, it's the tiniest bit, but we're gonna work with what we got. I cover it and let it sit for about 45 minutes. Then I come back and I do everything I can to get all of it off. I use my scraper, I use some more cleaner, which I love this cleaner so much. It's the the Green Ease Strip and Clean. I'd have to order another bottle. I'm just trying to use everything I have because I'm about to like restock on a lot of products. But I want to use it all. So this is probably the last project where you're going to see me skimp on, supplies. Now I'm cleaning the piece of furniture and I'm just using my vinegar. I'm going to wash it down with vinegar, and then once that dries, I'm going to go with a wet rag with just some water and give it a nice rinsing again. So for my primer, I'm going to prime the outside using Bonding Boss. It's an adhesive primer, but it's also a blocking primer. So it's going to get rid of all those smells. It's going to lock those smells in, but also it's going to help my paint to adhere properly. And when I'm using this Bonding Boss, I am applying 2 coats. I wait 2 hours in between the coats. That's just, you could even wait longer, but I always wait 2 hours. And then you have to wait a full 24 hours before applying your paint. So I do have a little break in between, and that's to make sure that it's good and dry so that the paint does stick. Now I'm using the gray primer because I'm using Dixie Belle's new color Gardenia when I paint, and it's so light and it's almost transparent. So I definitely found, because I tried it before, that it needs a little bit of a undercoat, like an undercolor. So that's why I use the gray for that. So for the outside, I'm using Dixie Belle's Ecru. Oh my gosh, I don't know if I'm saying that right. Ecru. I'm going to do the sides, the bottom, and the top. And then I'm going to use the Gardenia on those 2 on the middle trim And then you'll see I'm going to do that same exact concept with the drawers in just a couple minutes. And for the sides, I went with one solid coat or two solid coats of ecru. It's kind of a beige color. Now, as far as addressing the odor, again, I'm going to use another product. I'm going to use Boss in Clear for the drawers. And when I do this, I'm going to paint every part of this drawer, except the drawer fronts, because we used the Boss in Gray for that, because I'm going to paint over that. But I like to use this because sometimes when you shellac the drawers and you cover the whole entire thing, that shellac scent, it doesn't go away for a really long time, and sometimes it never goes away. I have found. And using this clear bonding Boss, the clear blocking primer, I found it's almost like it's not even on there. You can't really tell. So that's why I did that. And I do the insides of the drawers and everything. And it goes on white, but then it dries clear. Now for the painting portion, here's the gardenia, and I'm going to do the center of the drawers in the gardenia, and then I'm going to outline the edges in ecru. But I'm not talking about the edges on every single individual drawer. I want there to be a giant highlight because I'm going to use a giant furniture transfer. So the middle of this entire dresser is gardenia. And then the outside of the dresser edges is ecru. And we're going to just do a quick blend with that. The colors are really close, so the blend, it's not going to be hard to do at all. And you could have used one color or the other, but I like my furniture to just have something a little bit extra, and highlighting that furniture transfer is going to make it pop a little bit more. So I'm using, this is supposed to be the Shabby Chic, right? I mean, you think Shabby Chic, you think ruffles, pink pastels, all of that. Well, we're kind of ditching that and we're going for the modern version, which is more neutrals, more beiges. And I know people are going to say, well, beige, but that's for the background. That transfer that we're going to use is going to make it pop. We're still going to give it like this rustic vintage style, but we're going to keep it a little bit softer. You'll see. I'm loving the modernized Shabby Chic. I just think it's gorgeous. And it is all over my Pinterest, all over my Facebook algorithm. So I really think Shabby Chic is here and it's here to stay. It's coming back big. I just think with less, pink furniture, just less distressing, more clean lines and stuff like that. So this furniture transfer by Redesign with Prima, I have used it so many times. It's called Rose Celebration, and it is huge. A couple years ago, this was my top seller. I sold a bunch of pieces with this furniture transfer on it, and then I burned myself out because it is a beast. I'm not gonna lie, it's tricky to use. And look at all these. I cut all the words off because, for one, I don't even think that they're real words. Like, it doesn't say anything, so I just cut it off as best as I can. But it's hard. It's like putting together a big puzzle. And literally, I'm putting together a big puzzle. I'm going to tape this together and put it on the piece to kind of see where it's going to be centered. I want there to be, there are 4 pieces that could go on the sides on each corner and then one in the middle. But I worked on just this centerpiece for hours, like 5 hours. And after that, I was done. So by the time I got the furniture transfer on, I decided, okay, we're just doing 2 corners, okay? I'm going to do 2 of the opposite corners and call it a day. And I got to be honest, it's gorgeous that way too. So that's the plan right here. So to use the transfer, you're going to take that front sheet off of the back sheet and you're going to stick it on your furniture like a sticker. Now here's the thing. If your piece of furniture has a lot of drawers like mine does, and it's got a lot of curves and creases, it's going to take a lot more time. Transfers are so easy when you put it on a flat surface, just like anything. You know, working with a flat surface is wonderful, but it can be really hard when you're not. And most furniture has lots of curves. So that is why it took me so long to do this. I wanted it to look beautiful. I wanted it to be put on right. So I did take my time and made sure everything was right. If you want to, I have a video from a couple years ago that I did on how to put on a transfer, and I'll put that in the description box below because I'm not really going to show you all of that here. It took so long that I had to stop recording. Like my phone died. So I just put my furniture transfer on and it took me 2 days. So I did it, the centerpiece, for a couple hours in one day. And then I was like, I'm done. I need a break. I need to walk away. And then the next morning I came back and I put the 2 side pieces on. So yeah, here's the end. And I'm like, okay, my phone's dead. I charged it and I put it back up. You wouldn't even believe I had to cut that into probably 25 pieces. It was crazy, but it's beautiful and it's so worth it. So then the next part is going to be the top. I want the top to look pretty natural, pretty light. I still want it to be warm. It's bleached cypress, and it's one of the new Dixie Belle Paint Company Voodoo Gel stains. So I'm applying it with my glove on, and then I have 2 socks over my glove. They're my daughter's socks. She's grown out of them, so I use them for rags now. And I use my water bottle. I like to wet my surface before I apply the gel stain because it just comes on, it goes on much smoother. Everything a lot easier. It looks more even, and I have more working time with it, and it is water-based, so you can use the water with it. Now, it looks a little bit cloudy at first, but you kind of have to trust the process. And I found that the best sealer over this is Dixie Belle's Gator Hide. It takes away all that cloudiness and it just gives it a really vibrant, beautiful finish. So I'm applying it in rows, and you want to make sure that you're applying it evenly. If you apply it and you leave a bunch in one spot, it's going to dry and there's going to be a bunch in one spot, and that's what it's going to look like. So you kind of want to go over it and make sure that everything looks even. Your application is even, like how much you put on there, how much you're wiping off. You kind of want to do that, the same thing on each row. And I was so nervous that I was going to drip it on the front of this, and I hadn't sealed it yet. So I'm using just one of those little sponge brushes to apply it like super carefully. Now, before I seal my transfer in, which you always have to seal your transfer in, unless you're like putting one on a mirror, I'm gonna burnish this. And I just have this burnishing pad. I use, it's seen better days, but it still works. I just lightly go over it, make sure to pop any bubbles, make sure there's no air behind, and make sure if there's any pieces that are lifting that I actually remove those. So then I'm going to put my Dixie Belle's clear coat in satin in my paint sprayer and paint the drawer fronts and the base. But then for that top, I use Dixie Belle's Gator Hide. Now I used 3 coats of each on, I wait 2 hours in between the coats, and I did 3 coats on the top and the base and the drawer fronts. The Gator Hide is for high traffic areas. That's why I use that on the top, because it's a little bit stronger. And then for the hardware, I just washed them with my Dawn dish soap. I did not want to bring that gold back because I want to keep it with a vintage, very vintage vibe. And we're always looking for depth and dimension. Well, I'm going to use that natural tarnish for the depth and dimension. And I used the gold gilding wax on just the raised details. And here it is. This is modern shabby chic. It's vintage soul, it's clean lines, a softer palette, a little bit of neutrals, but we still got that floral pop. I just love this style so much, and I'm so happy that it's making a huge comeback. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Do you love it as much as I do? Look at that top. I'd love to know what you think about this makeover. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.